After going through this video, you will be able to explain how data is stored in a database, list down good practices to follow for creating a table to store data in a database. Welcome back to the second topic of this module. In the previous topic, we learned that the data is stored in a database. Now, this data is always stored in the form of a table. A table is nothing but an arrangement of data in rows and columns. Let's say we have this table students underscore CSE where the details of the students present in the computer science engineering or CSE department of a college are listed. We can see that the table heading consists of various information such as name, UID and gender. Similarly, we have another table faculties underscore CSE where we can have details about the faculties who are teaching in the CSE department. We can have another table named classrooms underscore CSE that stores the information of rooms that are available for theory and practical classes. In the same way, you can think of other tables, but for now, let us focus on these three tables that I just talked about. All these three tables have information specific to one thing, that is, a particular college. Hence, they all are stored in a single database, college. So, let us take this table as a reference and understand a few terminologies related to it. Now, the columns present in the table are called attributes as they specify the kind of information they store. For example, the attribute name will only contain the names of the CSE department students. Next, the rows in a table are called records that represent a particular entity. For example, here, this row represents one instance of one specific student. The attributes must be defined at the start while creating the table, whereas records can be added as and when they are ready. For example, when new students arrive in the department, we add them as a new record. While storing information for each row, the attributes takes care of which information would go in which column. This makes the entire data organized and easy to fetch. Let us further expand this example to understand how the data is stored in a database. Suppose this time you want to store information of all students of a college studying in various departments. The information can be their name, registration underscore number and gender. Pause the video and think about how would you store this information using a table. You might have thought of creating different tables for different departments, such as a table for civil engineering, another table for mechanical engineering, and so on and so forth. But this approach is not the best way to store the information. We don't need to create separate tables for different departments, as the kind of information we are storing is the same for each student, like name, registration underscore number, and gender. We can in fact store the information of all the students belonging to various departments into a single table students. This table will have one more additional attribute, department. Now let's say we want to store the information of teachers, such as their name, email and designation. Do you think we can add the information of the teachers in our existing table students? If you guessed no, you are right. To store the information of the teachers, we need to create a new table because the kind of information we store for teachers is different from that we would store for the students. For example, for teachers, we are storing email and designation, which is not present in the case of students. In the same way, if we decide to store information for classes, we will follow the same concept. And all these tables can be stored in the same database, college. Now, let us have a look at a few conventions and good practices that are followed while creating a table. First, table name should be in lowercase, example, students, faculties underscore CSE, etc. Second, we should use the plural form of a noun while naming a table. For example, students underscore CSE, classrooms underscore CSE, and so on. Next, if the table name contains more than one word, we should separate them using an underscore. Example, students underscore CSE, etc. Fourth, the columns or attributes name should also be in lowercase. Example, name, designation, etc. Fifth, the attributes name should be in a singular form. Example, name, phone underscore number, etc. Next, if the attribute name contains more than one word, we should separate them using an underscore. Example, phone underscore number. Lastly, as a practice, we add an additional attribute named ID in each table that contains auto-incremented integers. We define this column as the primary key for the table. We will learn about primary keys in the upcoming topics, so don't worry at this moment. I hope now you have understood how data is stored in a database and what are some good conventions that are followed by web developers. Make sure you give a thorough read to these conventions as we will be following them throughout this training. So, up next is a quiz. All the best.